Thank you so much for being here today, Amy. I would like to walk through some of the themes in your new book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Empowered Woman. And I know that one of those themes is body image, so could you talk us through that?
Oh, sure. It's such an important issue for women, and it's an area where we really do need empowerment, especially with summer upon us. And a lot of us have body image issues that keep us from fully participating in all of those fun activities with our families and our friends. So there was a great story in the book by Tanya Abari. Tanya was a certified Zumba instructor, and yet because she was a larger woman, she didn't even go to a Zumba class because she said that she had parts that jiggled. Well, most of us do. So she didn't go to class, and she kept joining gyms and quitting, joining and quitting, and then finally when she turned 30, she said, this is ridiculous. She went and took a Zumba class. She loved it. And she started going regularly. She made a bunch of new friends in the class, which was another wonderful benefit for her. And then when her instructor quit, Tanya became the instructor for her class.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
It was great.
And I know that another thing that holds people back is the fear of doing things alone.
Yes, this is a really common problem for men and women particularly. So we have a story from Wendy and Rich. Wendy went to meet a friend at a restaurant one night, and it was freezing cold outside, and her friend was standing outside on the sidewalk, and Wendy said, why didn't you go inside? And her friend said, well, I couldn't walk into a restaurant alone. And Wendy thought to herself, what am I failing to do because I'm afraid to do things alone? And then she was working at a senior center as a volunteer, and one of the men there who was in a wheelchair heard about her bucket list of things she wanted to do alone. And he said, go to Japan, because that was on her list, do it alone, do it for me. And so she went. She spent a whole month in Japan alone, and she loved it.
Oh, wow, that must have been an amazing trip. And I know that you have another story in the book about your own experiences in the finance and technology worlds. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I put this story in. It was something that happened about 20 years ago, but I wanted to give women today some context for where we've come from. And so this story is about the fact that I was working on Wall Street. I was an analyst, and I would pick stocks that would go up. I would warn people if I thought a stock was going to go down. And I had a client that was very grateful to me because I had saved them millions of dollars on a stock that went down, and I got them out of the stock. And I was expecting money. I was expecting brokerage commissions, and instead I got flowers.
Huh.
And I thought, well, that's not right. Anyway, then I went on and I switched careers within the world of finance, became an executive at a fast-growing technology company. We were raising lots of money from Wall Street, and we went on what's called a road show, where we rented a private jet, flew all over the country, meeting with big institutional investors. I was in every presentation. Everybody who invested heard my presentation. And when the deal was done and it was successfully finished, our investment bankers gave us gifts to thank us for doing such a good job. So I walked into the office one day and heard that the three men who had been on the private plane with me doing the presentations had each received 6 bottles of Dom Perignon. And I love champagne, so I thought, well, this is awesome. I walked into my office expecting to see my 6 bottles of Dom Perignon, and what was on my desk? A vase of flowers.
Oh, geez.
I know, and you know what? It's okay. We have to have a sense of humor about these things. I still knew my own worth, but the fact is it does take a long time to undo centuries of a different attitude towards women.
Definitely. Now, what are 3 major takeaways from the book?
So the 3 takeaways I think are very important are, 1, not to let your body image issues keep you from fully participating in life. Another is to not let a fear of doing things alone keep you from participating in life. And finally, know your worth. Have that self-knowledge of how much you're worth, even if things don't go perfectly in the outside world.
So I also know that this book is empowering not only readers, but other women too?
Absolutely. So we are empowering women from all walks of life because the royalties from this book are going to a wonderful organization, Dress for Success, which you may know as that organization that provides women with interview outfits. And they also give them training for how to do their interview, how to get that job, and then once they have that job, how to manage the salaries that they earn from that job. And they empower these women by helping them support themselves and their families.
I think that's fantastic, and thank you so much for sharing all of this with us today. It's been very helpful.
It's my pleasure.